Good afternoon. Welcome. This is the Farm Kenya Show. My name is Peter Wakabandio. Just in time for your 1 hour of news, views, and updates from the field of agriculture. We, of course, bring you news that you can use in a place where you can use it to build either a livelihood or get some money in your pocket from the agriculture value systems. As usual, we bring you guests who can give you insights into the various different aspects of farming, of agriculture, that can put some cash in your pocket and give you the information that you need to make those decisions in an informed way. With us in studio today, we have a guest. He's an expert in the poultry space, also a veterinary doctor. Karibu sana, Amos.
Thank you.
Yeah, so first off, let's hear about you. Talk to us about who you are, what you do, what your background is.
Well, thank you, viewers. My name is Amos Mwangi. I'm a poultry consultant.
Yes.
And a vet by profession. So first and foremost, thank you for inviting me to this show. So I've been in this field for over 8 years, majoring more in poultry. That is my main area of focus.
Yes.
As a field technician and also as a consultant. Yes.
So when it comes to the different aspects of this space, the fact that there must be millions and millions of chicken, other birds,
yes,
different types of poultry in Kenya.
Yes.
Give us a bit of background around this, the formal and non-formal aspects.
Okay. So, in the poultry aspect of it in our country, the number one, the poultry business is an evolving business. Just going back to history, the non-formal way, most of us, or majority of our Kenyans, in our background, or in our growing up, we had chicken back in our backyards.
Yes.
So, and in those years, or back then, the main reason for having them was consumption of eggs, maybe at home, and also majorly those days, most of us did not focus on the market aspect of the poultry farming. But with time, the industry is evolving, and we have now commercialized that from way back from the way we were running the industry back then. So currently, we have now majored on the commercial side of it. And from that angle, we have now distinguished maybe the birds or the poultry birds that are going to give us money. And with that, we have now come up with the broilers and the layers, which majority of the Kenyans are doing that as part of business.
Okay.
Because currently, birds that most of the Kenyans that are having that are doing of late is the broilers and the layers. And one thing is because an egg is the cheapest protein. And in fact, if you go back home, you see that it's one of the feed of the one of the sources of protein that you can prepare very fast. So, and with our eateries and our cafeterias in town, now that is why most of the people have now majored into the commercial aspects
of poultry.
Yes, of poultry. Yes.
Quite interesting, and thank you for setting the stage for us. I'll start off at the market end, because I think that's what is most interesting.
Yes.
There's so much demand for chicken, especially what people term the kienyeji today.
Yes.
That every day if you stand by Mombasa Road outside our gate and just stand there, you'll see matatus coming in with chicken tied all over the carriers and that sort of thing.
Yes.
But up country, you rarely find any farmer with more than 10, 20, 30 chicken.
Yes.
In some cases, like Laikipia, it's literally armed theft of chicken and that sort of thing.
Yes.
There's no real commercial value chain, but the demand is there.
Yes.
Why do you think people are struggling? How come the turnaround has not been quick to start to formalize this thing to bring to market? The thing that's there is still the brokers in the countryside commissioning people to collect chicken, whether bought, stolen, begged, borrowed, then aggregating them and sending them to town.
So I think one of the major challenges has been, if you look at the kienyeji that majority of the maybe we are doing in the maybe in the eastern part of the country, where we get majority of the kienyeji birds. What the current market is demanding is number one is quality.
Yes.
Quality. Number two is the consistency in production. So now we have a challenge in multiplying the local kienyeji. So, and if you go into the breeding aspect of it, it takes longer for that bird to mature and also to gain weight.
Yes.
So that is where we have now diverted to now the current breed of broilers, whereby that is what the current market is embracing.
And the so-called improved kienyeji.
And so and the so-called improved kienyeji. So just to highlight on the broiler, these birds we have got. This bird is a more improved bird that is aligned to meat production.
Yes.
And these birds gain weight or are ready for market.
So they're specifically bred for meat production?
They are specifically bred for meat production because they convert feeds very fast and they gain weight very fast. So in a span of 35 days to 42 days, these birds are ready for market.
Wow.
So with the current demand and the population in the country, we can only satisfy the market with fast-growing birds so that we can sustain our market.
Yeah, so 35 to 42 days as opposed to the kienyeji?
The kienyeji bird will take almost a year.
Wow.
Yes. So now this bird, after 32 to 42 days, it's ready for the market. And now with the mass production of the bird, of this poultry bird, so we are going to meet the demand of the market. And the other good thing about it is faster money. Because if you rear a bird for 35 days, so it means within a month and a half, you've recouped back your investment.
What about taste profile? People say the kienyeji tastes better, has more flavor than ingine. The bread, in fact, they call it ingine because readily available, but then taste. Or is it a matter of preparation? Because it could also be a matter of handling.
Yes, I think there's a difference in taste, and this comes because of the management practices. Because the management of the kienyeji and the broiler is a bit different. Most of the kienyeji farmers do open farming, or
open system where
open system farming,
just
where the birds
around,
are left to run around the compound.
Open range.
Open range, good.
Yes.
Where the birds are left to search feeds for themselves. Now, when this bird has got such exposure, it maneuvers and tries to find what is fit for itself. So this bird tends to feed on leaves, insects, anything that comes across maybe varieties of feeds, as compared to the broiler bird that is only fed with manufactured feeds. So these are feeds that are formulated just to meet the requirements of the bird. So with those two different management practices, that is why you will find that this bird that has been self-searching for itself is more tastier than these other breed of broiler.
Yeah. So the reason I asked that question is because for me, I attended a convention where one of our larger formal chicken value chains was celebrating 40 years.
Yes.
And they had brought in a lot of their stakeholders across the market.
Yes.
And this gentleman stood up and said, of course, said hello to the people, then said, I have a very interesting question. Because I come from a place where I have about 600, give or take, was there, so older men and women who are very moneyed and very specific on what they want to eat. And they're all insisting on kienyeji.
Yes.
But my challenge is there is no formal value chain. I have to keep going to the soko to place orders to get this thing.
Yes.
Why can't I find a person like you, organized, formal, where you simply make a call and you can deliver 30, 40, 50 of these things consistently? So the opportunity is definitely there.
Yes.
And of course, that manager, his answer was that they would need to start talking about the improved kienyeji, although it's not the same.
Yeah.
But you can definitely see that there's a gap in that space.
In fact, sorry to cut you short, this local kienyeji, in fact, maybe some few years to come, it's quite unfortunate that these birds might be extinct just to get the local kienyeji.
Because of people eating them.
Because of people eating them, and maybe people maybe focused on maybe doing the improved kienyeji or these other types of birds. And the the good part of this thing is that these birds, there are people who specifically want those local birds.
Yes.
In fact, you find the big hotels look because they want those birds to prepare maybe soup for breakfast. So they fetch quite some good money.
Yes.
It's a premium product in the high-end market. The same thing comes to its egg.
Yes.
If you compare the current price of a kienyeji egg and a commercial egg,
Yes.
there's quite a big difference. Because you get an egg retailing at 30 shillings, whereas these are the ones that are between 15 shillings, depending with the location. So I feel there's a big opportunity for the farmers to embrace the local birds, the local kienyeji, because I feel there's still a market for those birds.
And sorry to cut you short, if you did the husbandry aspect as a hybrid as well, it's running around finding its own food, but then you supplement with commercial feeds or whatever. Does that speed it up in terms of growth? Will it change flavor profile? Will it still accede to the premium product that you talked about?
So it will be a 50-50 situation. And this maybe depends more so with the breed, the mother breed. If this chick is from the mother local bird, 60% it will have the kienyeji distant flavor. Even though you'll embrace the technology of maybe giving it the commercial feeds. But the breed is the biggest determinant. And then the second thing is what will happen is the time that you let this bird maybe on open range and maybe the cross range, because I think you'll have to have time where the bird is enclosed and maybe the time when the bird is out. The challenge with this bird is that because of its movement, it does not convert to it so fast.
Because it moves a lot.
Yeah, it's most of the energy that it's spent on movement and searching.
And self-defense.
Yeah, and self-defense maybe from the hawks and animals. So unless I normally advise farmers that if you want maybe to have at least a taste of the local bird, just split some time. I think the morning hours, from morning to noon, let that bird be open range. Then in the afternoon hours, just take it back to the
Okay, interesting.
Yes.
Quite a lot to talk about. Eventually, I want us now to go into the feed formulation because we've talked about that aspect quite a bit. But let's go back to the beginning. How do I know that chicken, poultry is for me? In fact, like we were saying in the beginning, when many Kenyans hear poultry, they say chicken immediately.
Chicken,
yet it's a bit of a wide range. So let's start there. Please define that for us. What sort of animals are we looking at? What is the different varieties of birds that we can classify into this space?
Okay. So for the chicken or for the poultry, we classify them into three main categories. The one that we measured in our country. We have the biggest share goes to the broilers. That takes the first position. The second position goes to the layers, those are the commercial layers. These are the birds that are specifically kept for laying eggs. For the broilers, the main target is there for meat production. Then our third market is the kienyeji. And in our kienyeji, we can break them into two. We have the improved kienyeji and the local kienyeji. Just to enlighten maybe our viewers what is improved kienyeji. It is the local kienyeji that has been crossbreeded. It has been crossbred with these commercial layers, so that this bird can maybe improve its production, because the local bird takes quite time to grow. It's slow in converting weight. It's slow in production. Now the improved kienyeji came to fill up the space whereby it can grow faster. It takes a short time to grow, and with that, this bird can target for egg production or for meat production. So that is why we came up with the improved kienyeji. It has got features and traits of the local bird, but now this bird is more modified into production. That is the difference between the local and the improved kienyeji. So on this line of poultry, I normally want to enlighten my farmers that it's an investment like any other. And in fact, it's a very massive investment.
So treat it as a business.
Treat it as a business. And more so to those who are in the commercial business side of it. And there are 5 pointers that I normally like to touch, maybe to highlight when I'm advising our farmers. So for you to get into commercial poultry business, number one, you have to create time dedication. And time dedication is about management. You have to be proper in management to manage your birds, and also maybe your cash flows or maybe your farm hands. Number 2 is finances. It's an investment that requires finances for you to run the business successfully. Number 3 is research. Research is understanding the objective of the business that you're doing, and that will drive you to either know if I'm going to do layers or broilers. So with that, you'll first do your research to know if my end market or my target market is the eggs or is the broilers. And then number 3 is the passion. You have to have passion for this business, because some of you could, at times you get that people are driven by the end result. You hear that today the market, the eggs retailing at this price, the broiler meat is retailing at this price, then you just get into the business. So with this, you are driven by the end result. So you have to have passion.
Yes.
And then number 5 is no shortcuts. Avoid shortcuts at all cost.
That's interesting, because people might not even know they're doing shortcuts.
Yes.
So they just, so let's break down each and everything that you've said.
Okay.
So how do I know that chicken farming is for me? How do I know that I have the right area? Do chickens do well in every place across the country? If I'm in Garissa, Wajir, Kinangop, can I keep chicken?
Yes. So when you want to keep chicken, number 1 is you have to know your target market, as we've just said.
Yes.
And you also need to look at your location. Because not all breeds or maybe not all birds are favored by...
so there are specific ones for different
specific areas that prefer different breeds of birds, and also the different maybe kind of farming that you're doing.
Yes.
So maybe you can get the good... if you target to do maybe the broilers, I find that most of the broiler farmers are more centralized. I think most of them are driven by the market. Most of them tend to do the farming nearest to the market.
They are close to the market.
Close to the market, yes. For an example, if the main market for broilers in our country is Nairobi. Yes. So you get that most of the farmers that do this is maybe Kitengela, maybe a radius of maybe 50 to 70 kilometers from Nairobi. Those are the main people that maybe do broiler farming.
Because of proximity to the market.
Because of proximity to the end market. Then the good thing is that currently we have got commercialized hatcheries that have different breeds of birds that favor different environment conditions. So like Kenchik, we have got Ivines. Now you can get that a farmer in Garissa can get a breed of breeders that can be favored by the environmental condition of Garissa. You also get a farmer in Kinangop, maybe where the place is a bit cold. You also get a breed that does well in those regions. The same case happens to our layers. We at least now we don't have, some times back we just had on one breed that was favored by the cool climate. Yes, but at least now the hatcheries have come up with new improved breeds that maybe can favor different climatic conditions. Spaces. Yes.
Okay, then so you figured out your ecological space.
Yes.
You think you want to get into this. You've maybe figured out the market.
Yes.
Where do you start?
Once you figure out the market, the other thing that you need to do is you need to get land.
Yes.
Then after getting a suitable land, then you need to now plan for the housing. So when planning, there's some elements that we look at your land, because during constructing a poultry unit, there are some aspects that we look, that is depending on from which end the sunlight, the sunrise, and maybe the direction of wind. So we call it east-west orientation.
Okay.
And this because we recommend that poultry units should be, the length should be open. At least 2 feet. 2 feet should be close just from the ground. Ground just raised maybe with iron sheet or stone. 2 feet, then from there to the height of the roof, it should be open.
Really?
Yes.
Now, they make, like if you go to some of those like Kenchik and the rest, is just rows of houses with wire mesh, alafu chini ni mawe, and then it's a long building. So that's what you mean?
Yes. So the length should be open. No, but with these kinds of design, I think the business is evolving. If you visit maybe some farms like Kienyeji or maybe other commercially big farms, you might find that the house has been enclosed fully. And if you go to those units, you'll find that they are air conditioned, they are automated.
Yes.
These houses have got fans to bring in fresh air and maybe exhume air from the houses. But for the farmers, maybe who don't have that kind of investment, maybe the muscle to have such an investment, we recommend the length just to be open, so that maybe when the temperatures, maybe when it's hot, you can lower or raise the curtains, depending with the kind of temperatures. Now, the main reason to do this to know where the wind is coming from, where the sun is rising, is we don't want to have our unit whereby there's direct wind that is coming into the house.
Yes.
That will destabilize the birds' production and alter the birds and give them stress.
So they don't like cold or...
They don't, that direct cold will affect them. The other thing is direct sunlight.
Yes.
It will also affect the birds and lead to some conditions that we call cannibalism. Cannibalism is where you find the birds attacking each other. Because in most cases you find that birds are attracted to bright things. So once the bird sees its other bird, maybe on a ngozi, it will be attracted to that, and now they start pecking on each other. Okay. So that will cause
those could even be things that affect the free range all the time.
Yes.
Productivity.
Yes, productivity. So that is one thing. So the other thing I recommend when starting up a structure is every time a poultry unit should be a unit that you can walk in and feel comfortable as a human being or as a farmer. So it should be raised high that so that there can be enough air circulation. Because in most cases you find that people build very low structures, whereby even you can't get in yourself. So in such conditions, it will be difficult for you to manage or to run errands in that unit, because maybe you want to collect maybe eggs, maybe you want to clean the house. Yes. So it will be very difficult for you. So in such scenarios, you'll find that you'll have challenges with diseases. Yes. So I recommend that house should be raised, maybe 10 feet high, a house that you can enter freely, so that will have enough air ventilation. Yes. So let's talk about the floor. Once you put your structure, some people advocate raising it on stilts. Yes. Others now make a simiti and then they put sawdust or rice husk or one of those things. Is there a specific way we should be doing it? Depending with the business and maybe with the location that you maybe the environment that you're building. So I recommend that you just cement the floor, and then when you're preparing to bring the birds, we normally advocate that you place wood shavings or rice husks. Now the importance of this is it helps in absorbing the moisture once the birds come into the house, because when the floor is open, maybe the droppings of the birds are wet, maybe the birds will litter water, and these will make the house unfavorable. So once the house becomes wet, there'll be some disease that will occur. And the droppings of birds is normally bring something. There's something that we call ammonia. There's build-up of ammonia. Once there's build-up of ammonia in the house, you now start you will now get challenges in diseases that we're going to talk later on in our show. So rice husks and wood shaving are very important. Once you clean the floor, just place them so that the birds can be comfortable in the house. Yes. Should you be thinking about predators, that sort of thing? Yes, predators. So yes, you should be also considering predators. So your wire mesh, that the open ends should have a wire mesh, and then you put a chicken mesh on top of it. So that will avoid maybe rodents or maybe birds to get into the poultry house. Yes. So, and we're assuming that these birds are coming in as chicks and that you're going to raise them. Yes. So in the next part of the show, I want us to then discuss bringing in these birds and, of course, the dieting aspect and, of course, like you said, the diseases and pathogens that we should be on the lookout for. Yes. But for viewers, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere.